Steelers fans, man, what is going on with y'all? I mean, seriously, are we really doing this? The moment George Pickens gets traded to the Dallas Cowboys, it's like the city of Pittsburgh collectively lost its mind. It's wild, because just a few weeks ago, these same fans were hyping Pickens up like he was part of one of the best young receiver duos in the entire league. All that talk about how if they just found the right quarterback, they'd be dangerous, gone. Suddenly, now that he's rocking the star, he's public enemy number one. And I've got to ask, why? Look, I get it. When a talented young player leaves your team, there's always a sting. But this isn't just fans being emotional. This has turned into a full-on smear campaign. We're talking about people digging up old clips, creating narratives, even posting fake Instagram captions just to paint this dude as some kind of locker room cancer. It's beyond over the top. George Pickens went from a future star in Pittsburgh to being treated like he's Freddy Krueger overnight. What are we doing here? And that's exactly why we, as Cowboys fans, need to take a different approach. Forget the noise. Forget the media. Forget the fake posts going viral for clicks. We've got to look at who George really is and what he can bring to Dallas. He hasn't said a bad word about the Steelers, even though they're out here throwing him under the bus. That says a lot. He's handled the transition like a pro, and now it's our job to embrace him the same. Way we'd want to be embraced walking into a new locker room, a new fan base, a new family. Let me ask you this. Do you believe George Pickens can become a true WR1 for the Cowboys? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 14,000 Cowboys fans strong, and your support helps make that happen. All right, so let's set the record straight. George Pickens didn't just fall out of favor in Pittsburgh overnight. This whole drama didn't come out of nowhere. The signs were there if you were paying attention, but they weren't the red flags some folks are trying to make them out to be. This wasn't about some toxic player who wrecked a locker room. No, this was about a young, ultra-talented wide receiver stuck in a bad situation, with bad quarterback play, a predictable offense, and a coaching staff that never figured out how to maximize his skill set. Let's be real. Pickens was doing all he could with what little he had. I mean, how are you supposed to eat as a wide receiver when your quarterback is barely throwing for 150 yards a game? You want production? You need opportunities. And George wasn't getting them. But here's the twist. He still managed to put up numbers, still made highlight catches, still drew attention from defenses every single week. That tells you everything you need to know about his potential. Now fast forward to the trade. Did Pickens force his way out? No. Did he go to the media and blast the organization? Again, no. He kept quiet, let his game speak. And when the trade happened, he didn't throw shade. He thanked the Steelers and moved forward. That's maturity. That's focus. And yet, Pittsburgh media is spinning this like he's the bad guy. It's ridiculous. But here's the good news. He's here now. And in Dallas, he's walking into a much better situation. Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. CeeDee Lamb draws double coverage. Brandon Cooks stretches the field. And now you've got George Pickens with single coverage and something to prove? That's a dangerous combination, my friend. So here's the question. Do you think Pickens will thrive now that he's got a real quarterback throwing him the ball? I want to hear from you in the comments. And don't forget to vote in the poll we're dropping right now. Will Pickens go for over 1,000 yards this season? Yes or no? Now, let's talk about what this trade really means for the Cowboys offense. Because this move isn't just about bringing in another body to fill a roster spot. This is about changing the entire energy of the passing game. George Pickens brings something this team hasn't had since Dez Bryant's prime. An edge. A swagger. That throw it up and I'll go get it mentality. Picture it. CeeDee Lamb in the slot or out wide, demanding attention from a safety over the top. Brandon Cooks pulling defenders with his deep speed, and now Pickens lining up on the outside, facing one-on-one coverage more often than not. That's a nightmare for defensive coordinators. Who do you double? Who do you jam? Who do you leave on an island? And don't overlook the red zone impact. That's where Dallas struggled last season. Too many field goals, not enough touchdowns. Pickens is a 6'3", physical target with strong hands and body control. He can win those contested catches inside the 20. And if he and Dak build chemistry fast, this offense could start cashing in more trips to the red zone. But this isn't just about stats and schemes. This is about mindset. Pickens plays with fire, he blocks with attitude, he celebrates every catch like it matters. And let's be honest, this locker room could use a little of that juice. Too many times last season the Cowboys looked flat when it counted most. Maybe, just maybe, this kind of fire is what helps them punch back when things get tough. Now I want your take. How do you see George Pickens fitting in? Is he WR2 right away? Or will Brandon Cooks hold on to that role early on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And here's a quick vote. Who's going to benefit most from Pickens joining the offense? Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, or Mike McCarthy? This is the kind of move that could shift the balance in the NFC East. But the real test? It's coming soon. And in Chapter 4, we're diving into what this trade tells us about Jerry Jones's mindset and how this could be a sign of even bigger moves on the way. So let's look at the big picture now, because this trade might be about George Pickens on the surface, but underneath, it's Jerry Jones sending a message, loud and clear. And if you've been following the Cowboys for any length of time, you know Jerry doesn't make splash moves without trying to control the narrative. First off, this is Jerry saying he's all in on 2025. No more slow builds, no more waiting for young guys to develop. He wants playmakers now. And let's not forget, Pickens is still on a rookie deal. That means Dallas didn't just grab a talented receiver, they did it without breaking the bank. Classic Jerry, aggressive but calculated. And here's another layer. This move might also be a hint at Jerry's view of the coaching staff. When you give Dak Prescott another weapon like Pickens, it puts pressure on Brian Schottenheimer to deliver results. No more excuses. The offense now has one of the most dynamic receiver trios in the league. If production doesn't spike, Jerry won't be pointing fingers at the players. But let's not ignore the signal this sends to the rest of the NFC. The Eagles, they loaded up. The 49ers, still dangerous. The Lions, rising fast. And Jerry, he's saying Dallas won't be left behind. He wants to make a statement before the season even kicks off, and that's exactly what a trade like this does. And here's something for you to think about. Could this be just the beginning? Jerry's known for building momentum. Sometimes one big move leads to another. Think about what happened in the 90s. He stacked the deck and went all in. Are we seeing the early signs of another aggressive push for a Super Bowl run? Let me hear your voice. Do you think Jerry Jones is finally taking the right risks again? Or is this just another flash move that might not pan out? Hit the comments and let's talk. And in Chapter 5, we'll wrap things up by digging into what this means for the future of the WR room and what this might tell us about who could be on the trade block next. All right. Now let's wrap this up by talking about where this move leaves the Cowboys' wide receiver room, and what dominoes might fall next. With George Pickens now in the mix, someone's going to get squeezed. CeeDee Lamb is locked in as WR1, no question there. But now you've got Pickens as a high-upside WR2, and Brandon Cooks still holding value as a deep threat and veteran voice. Then there's Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Cavante Turpin, all guys fighting for limited snaps. So the big question becomes, who's the odd man out? A name that keeps popping up in these discussions is Jalen Tolbert. He's flashed at times, but hasn't consistently broken through. With Pickens in town, the pressure on Tolbert skyrockets. If he doesn't show out in camp, he could be on the trade block or even released. And what about Brandon Cooks? He's a solid vet, but he's not untouchable. If Dallas decides it wants to go younger or add depth at another position, Cooks could be part of a package deal before the season starts. It all depends on how the offense gels with Pickens in the mix. But don't forget about Cavante Turpin either. His role has mostly been special teams, but he's a gadget guy with speed. Still, if the team keeps 6 receivers and Lamb, Pickens, Cooks, and Tolbert are locks, the math gets tight fast. All this adds up to one thing: competition. Real, fierce, camp-deciding competition. And that's what fans should be excited about. Iron sharpens iron. If the Cowboys are serious about making a run, this is how it starts: by putting pressure on every level of the depth chart. So, what do you think? If you had to pick one receiver on the current roster to move on from, who would it be? Tolbert? Cooks? Someone else? Drop your pick in the comments and explain your thinking. And hey, make sure you're subscribed and have alerts turned on. Because if Jerry's not done making moves, you better believe we'll be breaking them down right here on Cowboys News TV.